So, Jack, we have the Champions League final for 2021. Uh, Chelsea against Man City. Any initial thoughts?
Fuming of PSG's performance. No, I'm joking. Man City were the better team on the night, obviously coming through to that. You got Chelsea, who have been playing bloody brilliantly. I'd like to see a nice English final, which is nice. Do you think this has put England now as back as the Premier League back as the top league of all the football leagues?
I think when you look at what's been happening within the Champions League and stuff, obviously you had Spanish teams winning it for, 5 or 6 seasons in a row.
Yeah,
And then you had Liverpool when they lost against Real Madrid, and then you had Liverpool Spurs. Um, I think you're starting to
magical
see it
evening.
now.
Yeah,
And
but
I think the other thing that was noted yesterday when I was watching the aftermath of the Chelsea game, and I think, by the way, I think it's incredible that Chelsea have changed manager, still on for top four, and in the Champions League final. I think if you said to any Chelsea fan when they were like complaining
Thomas Tuchel,
well,
Paul
when they were
Frank,
complaining about Frank and then saying that they need to get rid of him and stuff, if you were then to say to him, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to finish top four and be in the Champions League
Champions League
final,
final. They've
they'd,
bitten your
yeah,
hand off.
they'd bite your arm off for that. Yeah, I think they then spoke about it afterwards, and they asked this same question in the BT Sport like post match talk. They said, "Is the Premier League the top league in Europe and therefore in the world?"
Yeah.
And the answer was yes. And I think Joe Cole said that there are about 8 teams in the Premier League that would give the Champions League a really good run and would get
hmm
out of group stages and would be able to play against these big clubs. Because I think you obviously got your old school, your Super League top six, but then you've got your Evertons, your Leicester, West
West
Ham,
Ham pushing up there.
Villa trying to push up there as well. And those teams are used to playing against those top six. So if they were
Yeah.
to come up against an Atletico Madrid, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, or a Juventus, they'd give it a good game because they're used to having to change how they play. Whereas you saw PSG for the first half of the first leg, PSG looked great. They looked
They
really
were
good.
loving life.
Yeah, and then second half, Man City were like, okay, we've got to do something different here because Man City are used to playing against the other big
The
six.
adaptability is there.
They're used to playing against them as well. So then Man City came out and were like, okay, we can adapt to how we're going to control this game. And PSG just didn't know what to do. And in the second leg as well, like I know they got guy sent off in both legs, but the second leg in particular, like later on in the second half, when you could tell that they'd accepted that they'd lost and weren't going to the
Heads were
final,
gone.
the heads were gone and they were just so bitter about the whole thing. And I think the benefit that the Premier League teams have is that they get to play against other so-called big six teams
It's training, isn't it? It's
all the time. Yeah,
effectively like scrimming.
yeah,
There's a thing you do in
completely.
like friendlies and stuff where you would literally just play against other teams because you can't obviously replicate like
The atmosphere
uh,
and the
yeah.
environment of it
So when
being
you're
a
playing against
Champions
other
League game.
teams, you're playing against other teams in the league play. If you are the top team in the league and there's a big skill disparity, you're not going to get that benefit of playing against harder teams all the time.
Yeah.
That's why partially when the Super League got announced, I mean PSG weren't in it. I was like, well, that's interesting because I would have liked to seen that type of them be pushed more than they currently are.
But that's because they've got the World Cup in Qatar and the owners are
Yeah,
from there and
it's
they've got to keep FIFA happy, basically.
it's understandable, but from a fan's point of view, I would have found it from the league PSG are in. Maybe I've found it more interesting how that would have gone
Mhm.
through. But if you look at it, like even the Italian league, Juventus aren't exactly getting pushed hard anymore. You've got Mourinho gone to Roma. You look at all the leagues. It's about so let's just be kind and say 4 top teams in each league, bar the Premier League, where you've got a solid top 6 to 8 teams that will all push and challenge each other. And that's something week in week out. You get some Sheffields in there that's going to be an easy week. But if you're getting pushed and adapting different play styles, different things that are going on,
Yeah.
you're naturally going to improve and be
But
a
I
better
think
team.
in Spain you say you've got some Sheffields in there. In Spain
Yeah.
you've like got 5 or 6. So
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There'll be so many games every season that Real Madrid or Barcelona will go into going, okay, we could genuinely score 7 today.
We'll rest all
And
our players and
yeah,
send the youth team out and see what they can do. Oh, we're
loads of
3-0 up.
people, still score a ton of goals, and it's nowhere near as competitive. And I think for the players, you've got the likes of Mbappe and Neymar and stuff going to PSG because they want to win the Champions League.
Yeah, and they're not getting it.
They've got no challenge on their week in week out games. That they as individuals may be able to step up to that level, but the rest of the team can't. The rest of the team aren't able to just up their performances like that. Whereas you got Man City this weekend play against Chelsea in the Premier League. So that's a prerequisite for the final. They played against Chelsea.
They can learn off each other.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you see weird stuff this weekend, though?
The other day. But
do you reckon you're going to see some interesting tactics get thrown about just to not throw... You know when you watch a boxing fight, you watch the previous boxers' fights and stuff, and you go off of how this fight style. Do you reckon there's going to be some tactics come out from like either side, just try and try different things or just change things up to try and throw, not necessarily what they want to do in the final, but just trying to be like, Pep likes to try weird stuff randomly. And,
I was going to say, I don't think that you'd be able to... Pep could play his team that he's going to play in the final. He could play them at the weekend when they play against Chelsea, whenever it is. Like, I think it's this weekend. That team, nobody will look at whatever team he puts out, even if it's the strongest 11 he can put out. No one will look at that and go, "Oh yeah, that's nailed on as Pep's team for the final," because
he
changes it so much. The fact he changed it between the first leg and the second leg, and it ended up being a brilliant decision. There were so many people that were like, "Well, they played so well in the first leg. Why would you change it? Don't change it if it isn't broken."
Yeah,
I think Chelsea at the moment they look to all be about keeping teams out. Like their defense is just so good at the moment, and Kante's absolutely running the show yesterday.
They're on fire.
Yeah, I think it would be a really good final. I think if Timo Werner starts scoring some more goals before the final, then he's getting so many opportunities at the moment that we could see a nice high scoring game.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's two English teams because I think they deserve it. And at the end of the day, they're saying, Chelsea could be crowned the top team in Europe, but they finish fourth in their own league, potentially.
It just shows how competitive the league is.
Maybe
it credits the league more.
Fifth. They might even finish fifth behind West Ham, and that means Leicester and West Ham, who aren't even in the Champions League, could finish higher than them. And I think that there shows
that's just central to how the quality of football, isn't it?
The Premier League is just above the other leagues at the moment. And it's all, in my opinion, all because week in, week out, they're playing against so many better teams than what you get in Germany.
The bar is higher.
Spain.
The bar is higher in the Premier League, and as long as the bar is high, if everyone's naturally the bar set quite high, but everyone's been improving against each other the bar will slowly keep getting pushed higher and higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the French league, you've got PSG, and they've got the bar in their hand, and no one's pushing them or forcing them to improve and make it go higher.
Yeah.
There isn't that drive, and that's why I think the Premier League, whoever wins this, it's going to show that the Premier League is now, or is and was, the best league out there.